Hello everyone, please contact Professor Robert for a sample or a customized paper of the following or any other assignment. SWK2067. Assessment Information, AS1. Description. Case Study Edna's story. Edna is an older disabled person. She has been registered blind for more than 20 years. She has a guide dog, which she adores and who has been a lifeline for her. As she says, when I got my first dog I hadn't been over the door on my own in years. I got my first dog and she and I went out into the town. It turned my life around, gave me back my life and gave me back my confidence. Recently Edna's health has declined, and she now has to go for dialysis 3 times a week to her local hospital. She describes her experiences traveling with her dog to and from the hospital as the most difficult issue of my entire life, adding that in my 70 years I have never been treated in this fashion ever before. Edna was initially taken to and from her home in a taxi, contracted by the local trust. However, Edna felt that the driver made things difficult for her because of the dog, even though, as she points out, she has previously traveled on trains, buses and even aircraft with her dog without trouble. I was treated very well by other taxi companies, on the trains, in restaurants. Never ever before was I treated like not only a second-class citizen, but a third-class citizen. When Edna contacted the trust about the issue, she found them apparently more interested in challenging her complaint than speaking to the taxi firm concerned. In fact, she was told that she could make her own transport arrangements if she so wished. But this would have cost Edna over £5,000 per year, and she feels that it is wrong for her to be treated differently, just because she has a guide dog. Dealing with the attitude and approach of taxi drivers on top of all that left her very upset. I felt diminished and demeaned. I must confess that I felt really victimized to the extent that I felt that I was being penalized because I had sight loss, and I was using a guide dog as my mobility aid. The trust seemed unable or unwilling to tackle the matter of the taxi firm's behavior. Instead, Edna was, as she puts it, bumped onto what was called an ambulance. Edna is the only renal patient traveling in this fashion. This vehicle is not really suitable. There is no heat in the rear where Edna and her dog have to sit, so she is freezing, and there have been a range of other problems. Edna's beloved dog has also suffered hyperventilating and shaking whilst in the ambulance. It turns out this may be because the vehicle is being washed out with bleach, which burns the dog's paws. So it just goes on and on, says Edna. It's distressing for me, but more importantly it's distressing for my dog, and he can't tell me what's wrong. I just find it hard to cope with. Edna believes that the difficulty with the transport has adversely affected upon her health. As she explains, dialysis is not an easy treatment to have 3 days a week. It takes the best part of 5 hours each time, and it is very draining and quite debilitating at times. So I was finding this quite distressing. If my treatment in the dialysis unit was only for 6 weeks, she says, I wouldn't have bothered even making contact even with regard to the first issue. I would have gone the 6 weeks and thought, well, thank goodness that's over. But I have to travel this way for the rest of my natural life, and I am not prepared to do that. Why should I be treated like this? Why should I be treated and carried in such a fashion and made to feel that I am just a nobody? Edna is the only renal patient who is being transported to and from treatment in this fashion. She believes firmly that this is because she travels with a guide dog. The whole experience has greatly distressed Edna, and her consultant has noticed an adverse impact on her mood and general health. However, because of the state of her health, she feels she has been unable to get the authorities to address the matter. I can't because I haven't got the energy. When your kidneys are not working, you are not working. You are just going from day to day. It's really hard. I hate stepping out of here in the morning. I am fine when I get to the unit, but it's the getting there and getting home. I just dread it. It is impacting on my dog now, a poor animal who can't speak and can't tell me. I depend on him to keep me safe, the poor thing. AS1 is divided into Part 1 and Part 2. You must complete both parts in order to pass, as this is one assignment, and the contents is inclusive of the learning outcomes. SWK2067 Assessment Information, AS1. The total word count is 3,500 words. You have 3 opportunities to submit. 23rd, June 2020, 21st, July 2020, 20th August 2020. You must submit your assignment via Turnitin to the relevant portal. Module Learning Outcomes. Subject-specific knowledge, understanding and application. A. Identify and explain a range of theories and models relevant to disability. B. Demonstrate an understanding of inequality and discrimination. C. Recognize and understand how cultural and social systems can influence personal values. D. Analyze service user narratives to understand their life experience experiences, employability and changemaker skills. B. Critically evaluate approaches and solutions to a given scenario. F. Investigate real-world issues. Part 1, Essay, Word Count 2000 words. Assignment task, drawing upon your learning during this module and relevant background reading. Discuss a range of theories and models relevant to disability, and how they may help or hinder current real-world issues in relation to the topic. You must write your answer as an academic piece of work, in third person, with an introduction, main body, conclusion and a reference list. You must reference within your work using Harvard. Part 2, Case Study, word count is 1500 words. Assignment task, please read the case study for Part 2. Read and reread the case study, which you can find in the case study folder under assessment information on the module's NIL site, and complete the following tasks. The purpose of this activity is for you to explore the case and evaluate approaches and possible solutions, demonstrating an understanding of Edna's situation. Case Study 1, Edna's story, total word count equals 1500 words. 1. Write a short introduction to the case study. 2. Your analysis: what barriers or challenges does Edna think she is facing, and why can you identify any more? Why do the problems exist? What impact do they have? Who is responsible for them? 3. Possible solutions: changes, review module learning, discussions, notes. How does this relate to inequalities and discrimination? Are there any cultural or social systems that are influencing Edna's personal values? Explore this. 4. Best solution: consider strong supporting evidence. What is the best solution for Edna? What are the pros and cons to this? Is the solution realistic? 5. Write a short conclusion to the case study. You must reference within your work and write a reference list using Harvard. At this level of study, you must show a breadth and depth to your knowledge and understanding. You should reference within your work and include a reference list using Harvard referencing. Thanks for watching.